Live. What's going on, everybody? We're going to do a quick little chatting with the Battle Bean. My special guest today is going to be Mr. Idaho Rogers. Go ahead and introduce yourself, sir.
Well, what is there to know? I'm the man, the myth, the legend. I'm the Idaho. Are we still live?
Yeah, we're still live. Yes, we are still live. So,
So, I was excited to see that you got yourself an M1A because personally, it's the rifle that I love to hate.
yes, absolutely. I do as well. I think for me is I've been trying to little by little start buying some of the the weapons that I used in my military career
Right on.
and stuff like that. Hello, Prebit, how are you? Yeah, no, I and it was one of those rifles that I enjoyed shooting. I got to know a little bit more about what's going on, CW. Um, I got to learn a little bit more about how to properly use a rifle.
Right.
It's a man's gun, bro. I mean, that's all that is.
And and I think you got that right. Where you say it's a gun that you can learn how to properly use a rifle
Yeah.
because it will make anybody a better shooter just playing with one of those things.
Oh, absolutely.
And
And it's
uh, did you ever get to have a scoped version, or were you purely an iron sights guy?
no, actually, I was gonna show you this real quick.
Oh, sweet.
Let me just show you right here. This is me in Iraq. And as you can
Oh,
see, this is the M14 that I kind
right
of
on.
mess with a lot. This is like right before we were getting ready to get our desert uniforms.
Mm-hmm.
And as you notice, we started pretty much getting all of our stuff camouflaged to the desert. But yeah, this is me in this M14 that I really loved, and I shot it quite a bit. And it had the Leopold glass on there. Man, that thing was just amazing. I don't recall exactly what the type of glass it was as far as the dimensions, but
Right.
I could tell you that this thing was amazing, and I really really enjoy shooting it. So,
Well, let's explore it. What kind of reticle did it have?
if I recall, this one had it had the crosshairs with the and it had like the nomenclature for win and distance on the right hand side, if I recall.
I see. I see. So it didn't actually have it probably had what we would call like a half Christmas tree, which
Yes.
would probably be on the right side.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. And
Cranky, we don't care about the Eagles, bro. It's all good though.
hey, my Cowboys took care of business today
Oh,
after
what?
that
They won?
embarrassment last week.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Nah, man. I've been trying to just, not focus so much on the NFL because it's gotten so damn political, man. It's kind of stupid. I'd rather do stuff around the house.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I can agree with you there, but Cranky, taught me a very valuable lesson. He's not going to let them jerks take away the love of the game.
That is true. That is true. I just I don't know. I just I mean, the way I look at sports is it's an escape from everything, And
Yeah,
when
I just
we don't have that escape anymore, then it's um it kind of hinders everything. I think my biggest problem, and I don't know how you feel about this, but for me, when you kneel to the flag of the national anthem, that's an insult towards me and anybody who served. I
oh,
should.
it's an insult to the entire country that give you the actual freedom to actually have that
Yeah,
choice to take that knee.
exactly.
But hey, I don't tune in until after the first quarter. Let them have their little temper tantrums, and
Nah,
I'm there for the hard hits. I'm there for the great plays. I'm there for love of the game.
man, it was like that, and that's the thing that really bugged me the most, man, because To me, it's like whenever I look at the flag, I don't just think about, how it represents all of us, but I think about my brothers that were draped over that flag. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
As unfortunately, I saw quite a few of them, getting draped over with the flag, and it's it's personal for me. I mean, I understand that.
It's, I think it's going to have a different meaning for all of us. And I can agree. I know some guys that, come home, but anyway, they're all right here.
I hear you, brother. So tell me a little bit more about because you were in the Marine Corps, right? How many
Right.
years did you serve the Marine Corps?
I was only in for 6.
Six is enough. So
Four,
what?
four because I said I would do 4, and 2 because they said no, you gotta. We want you to hang around and help us out on this thing called Desert Storm.
Oh, I see. So you're a Desert Storm vet.
Yep.
Very cool, man. Um, so where were you stationed at?
Um, the last few years I was stationed in Camp Pendleton, but
Yeah.
just like every Marine, you do your start out at West Coast boot camp because I was a West Coast guy, and then went to school in Cherry Point, North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did a few years overseas. And once you're over in Okinawa, you're going to do the entire Far East tour,
Oh yeah,
so Korea.
absolutely.
I'm sure you did a Team Spirit.
Yeah, ours is it's called a little different. Yeah, but yeah, it's very interesting as to how we look at it. I think for as much stuff as we'd like to talk to each other, as far as a bunch of crap, between the Army and the Marine Corps, we're very very similar in a lot of things we do, man.
Yeah,
Because
we're pretty much mistreated by all of our superiors. So yeah, you
so.
know, I try not to let that define who I am.
Mhm.
As a period in my life, it is a period in my life I'm proud of.
Mhm.
But anyway, yeah, I did a few years overseas, and I came back to Camp Pendleton, and then of course deployed, and then came back to Camp Pendleton and immediately out.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. So, what was your MOS in the Marine Corps?
I was a engineer in a 1300 field, and I was a 1351.
Oh, okay. Were you the ones that wear the little red thing on your
No,
pants?
no, those are landing support battalion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I call them traffic cops on the beach.
Yeah. So for all you guys that don't know, there's a certain Marines that wear it's like a
Yeah,
red, it's like a red
yeah.
color, like it looks like a little
It's
patch.
just a little red patch. It'll be on
Yeah.
their cover. It'll be, somewhere. Those guys are
Right.
what they call a landing support battalion. And, you know, historically, Marines, hit the beach and they establish a beachhead.
Mm-hmm.
Landing support battalion is kind of the people that's in charge of getting stuff on and off the boats.
Right. So you were a combat engineer, right? So you were pretty good with
No,
dead core
no. I
and all
was
that
in
kind.
the engineer field. I started out as a combat engineer. Then I went to a 1351, which would have been a flight engineer on a CH 53.
Oh, very cool. That's a dust master, bro. I swear to God,
What's that?
that sea stallion, that
Yeah.
thing shoots out so much freaking dust. It's not even. I used to hate when those things used to come in. I'm like, oh my God, look at all that freaking dust they're gonna throw. But and I can
And
tell you that because I got relieved by the MEU in Iraq, and they had those huge 53s, and they just would throw all kinds of freaking dust everywhere, man. It was
right
crazy.
on. So you got relieved by an expeditionary unit?
Yeah, I sure did.
Really?
We got relieved by the 24th MEU. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And
That would
it
have been
was
an East Coast
yeah, and
deployment.
Yeah, so it was great. I actually had a squad of Marines with me because we are doing the right seat, left seat, getting ready to
Right.
give our uh, our positions. I was teaching this corporal. Like we're working on patrols and areas that he needs to watch out for. So basically, it was just me and this squad leader and his platoon. I mean his squad. And yeah, man, we're out there doing all kinds of stuff. Did a couple raids together. And what I
Right.
really found to be very interesting is how similar we are in doctrine and how we do a lot of things. Because um, I've only worked with these Marines for maybe a week or so, and we did a couple raids and did a couple patrols, and it was just smooth, man.
I'm
Uh,
sure the tactics are pretty close to the same. The language may be different, but the
yeah,
movement is still the same.
it's still the same. Yeah, and it was really fun. I really enjoyed spending time with them and getting to know them. And of course, the Mew just had a little bit of everything, man. They had the
Yeah.
grunts, they had the engineers, they had their MARSOC guys with them.
That's I don't know if a lot of people recognize this, but I still think they're called a MU or Marine Expeditionary Unit. But on the ocean at all times on both sides in the Pacific and the West Coast is a MU.
Yep.
And they are, just like Mario said, a little bit of everything. You'll have what, maybe a half a battalion of tankers, you know,
Yeah, if I recall, the 24th MEU, they had, I think, over a little over 900 Marines, and
right?
they had both armor assets, they had engineer assets, they
Yeah,
had snipers, they had everything with them. The only thing that they
right.
did not have was mortars. Their mortars were 68 millimeters,
Okay.
and they did not want to stay in that little ass fob in the middle of nowhere without any good cover. So, and we
And I
had,
think that, in the MU, it's just basically a regimental level, isn't it?
yeah, it is. And
Regimental force.
right, it's a regimental force, but unfortunately, they didn't have any 120 millimeter mortars, and we did.
Mhm.
And their colonel was kind of asked us nicely, "Hey, can we keep your mortars?" We're like, "Yeah, you can have them. We got like 6 more months in our deployment. You can they can be with you." And they're like, "Sure, we'll take them." Sure
Yeah,
enough, they got a Marine Corps Achievement Medal, and they got their combat patch with them, and with
really.
the First Marine and everything. Yeah, it was pretty cool. That was
That's
interesting,
that.
man.
Like say that they got that float out on the ocean. That's on both, on both oceans, in the Atlantic and the Pacific. And it's basically a force of Marines that you can deploy anywhere in the world within 48
Exactly,
hours. A
exactly,
boat can show up on your shore, and there you are.
yep, exactly, and they're literally in each side. And actually, I got a chance to work with two Mews. I got to work with the 24th and the 15th Mew. I actually got a
Mhm.
coin from the 15th Mew from their Sergeant Major, which is pretty
Oh,
cool.
sweet.
Yeah, I was able to. So it was really cool. I've had a chance to work with a lot of Marines and stuff like that. But let's get back to talking about the M1 Garand, M14,
M1A.
and M1A. Let's talk a little bit about that. Tell me a little
It's
bit about your rifle.
7.62 by 51. Um, I bought mine and as a national match setup. So with that, it comes with a little bit better barrel, better gas system. The enhanced sights. I don't know if you
Mhm.
can. I'm not showing it
Yeah, I can't show it, unfortunately.
right there. And to me, shooting with it on the range, it's a frustrating rifle. I can go out and it'll shoot sub MOA. I mean, not sub MOA. It will never shoot sub MOA, but
Hmm.
it's an MOA rifle.
Right.
Um, but I think what I got going in mind is it is strictly a military chamber, and
Yes.
they're a little bit sloppy by design.
Hmm.
you know, because the last thing you want is a finicky chamber when you're out there in the battlefield. You know that just as well as anybody else does.
Yeah.
You're going to sacrifice a little bit of accuracy, but let's cut to the chase. How many of our servicemen are actually dead eyes?
Not very many. And you know, when you stop and think about it, I think also the biggest problem that we have, and you being a Desert Storm vet, you can see that when you get in a firefight, you have a tendency of pulling that trigger a little hard, and you're not,
Yep.
you know, you forget all the marksmanship stuff that you were taught for so many years, and then after a while, I think, you know, like a little light bulb hits in there and says, "Hey, you know what? You need to learn. You got to go back to your basics." And that's when you
And
start getting.
I can testify to that.
Yeah.
Just real quickly, because I don't want to, like I say, I don't let it be define me. First time I was actually engaged, it was, you know, the reality wasn't hit. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're being engaged. Bang, 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 back at them. And then the round started impacting a little bit closer. And, you know, I'm sure you had the same thing, that realization. It's like, hey, this son of a gun is trying to kill me.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was just new frame of mind. You sat down and you know, you focused on where you were placing that,
Yep.
those
Exactly.
rounds.
And that happened to me. I think it happened to me in my first actual rifle firefight. Because actually, my first firefight, I was on top of a 50 cal, and I was the 50 cal gunner.
All right.
And yeah, that was gnarly. I can tell you that much. That was a
I
hell of
bet
a
it was.
firefight. But yeah, you're right. So I mean, and I think that's going back to the M1A platform. Like I tell you, like we were talking about earlier. I you know, you really get to learn how to really shoot, how to, you know, think about what you're doing when you're shooting that type of rifle. It
Exactly.
it just it you know, it really sinks you in on all the stuff that we're trained in the military about, you know, marksmanship and breathing and trigger control and all that
Mm-hmm.
stuff, you know. And I also think that because it's such a heavy rifle, it's a little more forgiving than, let's say, M4 or M16.
Well, what I like about the M14, I'd maybe say it never was my TNO weapon, but I'm actually going to put more downrange. It's actually going to do something when it gets there.
Yeah, exactly.
And even though, you know, we qualify with our time, it was the A2s.
Mm-hmm.
We shoot out to 600 meters,
Mm-hmm.
but we're shooting at a target that's, you know, 3 feet wide, which made no
Right.
sense to me whatsoever. You're familiar with the Alpha Dog and Bravo targets, I'm sure,
Right.
right?
Yes. Yeah. I found, actually, I did a known distance uh qualification. I was, it kind of threw me off, but at the same time, I really liked the concept of it and why the Marine Corps does the known distance.
Mm-hmm.
Because you really focus on what you're doing. It really does, because
Right.
it's there. It's right in front of you.
Well, and that's
I,
what always baffled me is like, okay, we're shooting at 600 meters, but we're shooting at a target that's, you know, the upper torso half of a guy, but he's, you know, he's this freaking wide.
mhm.
You know, which of your enemy is that wide anyway?
Right. Well, yeah,
So,
I still think there was a purpose in everything that we did, and I honestly think that it really helps. I don't know, I just found known distance target, you know, the target range. I found it to be fun. Well, maybe because I had never shot it before until that time, you
right.
know. Um, but you know,
You know,
shooting at 600 meters, it really takes a lot more skill, bro. It really does. It doesn't matter how big that target is. You still have to hit the motherfucker. You know what I'm
you
saying?
do.
You
But
know?
for me, the 600 meter wasn't. I think we did a rapid fire at the 600 meter, then you had to do a prone position at the 600 meter. I it's been so long since I qualified with it.
Right.
You know, I may be wrong. Maybe somebody can correct me in the side chat that's got a better memory than I do. But even them A2s, in my opinion, were not the most accurate rifle in the world.
Yep, it's true.
And you probably had some experience with the M4s, and I don't know if there was any improvement on those over the A2s.
No, but the M4, what it did is it made it a lot easier for, because the way the battle was changing is the fact that, man, you trying to do a raid with a freaking M16A3, bro, it sucks. Believe me, I did that my first deployment, and it really sucks because the huts in freaking Iraq are not that big. They don't make their houses huge or anything like that. So trying to do all kinds of stuff with that rifle was very difficult. Um, the M4 was really created just so that we could deal more with urban type of scenarios.
In
It's not
tighter
really, it's
situations.
not yeah, it's not really accurate. It's not any more accurate than I found my A3 to be way more accurate than the M4s were.
Were they?
Um, but I think the reason why the M4 is really created is because the battle space started getting closer. You know, it
I can see
wasn't
that.
where, yeah, it wasn't like when you were in the Marine Corps where it was force on force. Unfortunately for
Mhm.
me, when I started dealing with it, I'm dealing with urban settings and people that are wearing civilian clothes, and you don't know who's friend and foe.
And you
So
don't know who's on the other side of that adobe wall or rock wall.
exactly. Exactly. So I think the reason why the M4 was created is just because of the battle space and what was really created. I do think that they did make a lot more improvements with the M4, where it started becoming more versatile. And they started using better parts on those rifles, and we didn't have so many issues with corrosion like we did before. So there was some things that were improved on it,
I
and
don't
I'm
know what your feelings on it, but I think that once the civilians, started playing around with the AR-15 platform, we actually made it better. And I think the military adopted a lot of those things.
absolutely. Well, I mean, you really think about it, the 300 win is pretty much, is it the 300? Yeah, 300. The 300 blackout, 300, it's,
Yeah.
that's all from civilians shooting that stuff. And
Oh, I
then
agree.
what they actually started doing with the 300 blackout is that they took it out to Afghanistan, and when they took it out to Afghanistan, they noticed a big difference because the army was thinking about going to the 338, the Lapua, and although the Lapua is a great round, it's really accurate. Um, why having to buy another freaking gun and all the other stuff that goes with it when you already have that in the platform that you have it in? You know
Right.
what I'm saying? So I really do feel that a lot of the good things that are adopted are usually adopted because of civilian folks that do a lot of things like that. I also think that the army has done a really great job when they created the army marksmanship team, because they work a lot with civilian folks, and they bring
Hmm.
a lot of those ideas over to them, so they can and they share ideas, and those things are actually being brought into what we're seeing in our military.
Oh, we actually got a live chat going on down there, don't we?
Yeah, man. Actually, we got some people out there. Let me do a quick shout out to all the guys out there, just so that they don't think I've forgotten about
Yeah,
them.
tell them to sound off. Let's get a
Yeah,
roll
man. We
call
got
going.
we got Uncle Jim out there. We got Pro Carry Trucker. We got Runes out there all the way from Norway. We got Chris 338 who's out there. Let me see. We got Daniel, God is my judge, is out there. Cranky Cletus is out there. Jason Stewart's out there. Hobos and Hobbies and Hobos is out there. And we got CW Longshot and Prep for It is out there as well. So thank you guys for joining us.
Uncle Jim, yeah, he's catching me slacking. I'm supposed to went back to work this morning, but Pam woke up rather not feeling well, so hey, I can use that as an excuse to, stay home, play nursemaid, right?
Seriously, man. Well, I think the worst thing is for you to be sick and you're on the road, man. You know what I'm
And
saying?
I've been there. It sucks.
Yeah, it really does.
We got the
And
Navy well represented in the side chat. I see.
yeah, that is very true. So yeah, thank you for all of our vets out there. Thank you guys, and I hope you guys enjoyed your Veterans Day. Fortunately for me, I had to work. You know, that sucks. I was like, man, my company does not really give two shits about veterans, and they have like 40% of them are veterans. I'm like, man, you guys suck.
Yeah, it's funny. The veterans, in my opinion, the only time we ever get any, real recognition is during an election year when the politicians are using veterans as a
Oh my
political
god, you,
football.
you are so right,
And
bro.
then,
That's why.
as soon as they get elected, it's
Yeah, they totally
quickly
forget about
forgotten.
it. Totally forget about it, bro. So yeah, I hear you. And no, man, um it's crazy now, but I think really you got to take care of yourself, man. You don't feel good. You don't feel like you should be on the road. Don't put yourself out there right now, man, because who knows how hard or when you can actually get to some medical facility if it gets to the
Yeah,
point that you need it.
I wonder if we've had any of these drivers and stuff because they are a long ways away from home and some of them stay out for a long period of time. Could you imagine if one of them actually got the COVID while he's out on the road?
Oh, that's horrible, man. Like
I mean,
how do you do that?
I wouldn't have a clue. I wouldn't have a clue.
Yeah. And that's a valid point right there. I know because you pro carry truckers out there, you see him on the road all the time, man. I see him on his live chats all the time,
Oh,
and I'm like,
really?
yeah, man, pro carry trucker is he's a good guy, man. If you haven't subscribed to that dude, he's got his stuff going on, man. He's he's always driving, and I think it's good because he likes to do live chats while he's driving. I don't know how safe that really is, but I mean,
I
it keeps him awake.
Uncle Jim's trying to get me in trouble in case somebody from my company like watches his chat or something.
Yeah. So, anyways, on your rifle now, do you have a glass on it now, or are
Yeah,
you
yeah.
still?
I've got. See,
What
I'm
what do
not
you
showing it.
what do you have on yours?
That is a Vortex Tactical,
Awesome.
um, 412,
412.
which is about all I need for all the further that this thing is going to be accurate to.
Yeah. Okay. I really
Now,
like.
my scope mount is the single side mount. From the screw on the side,
Mhm.
it's got the little channel that it goes into in the screw.
Right.
I hate it. I wish I would have got one of the 3-point scope mounts, but then that required me to knock out my the stripper clip guide.
Right.
You got to knock that out, and then there's a piece that you can put in there that kind of goes in with another roll pin and tightens up, and then another screw that comes right down on the top of the front of the receiver. So it's really a 3-point attachment, and that would probably be a heck of a lot more accurate than this single point that I have. I wish I could grab it and hold it and show it, but YouTube will strike you and you'll be mad at me and we'll all be unhappy.
No, I get it. I wish I could do that. You know, so many things, but unfortunately, YouTube is the only platform that we can actually do anything. So we gotta play by the rules. But how long have you had your rifle?
I've had mine now for about 10 years. And to answer your question, Jim, I think it's a Silver Springs out of Texas. I don't even know if they're in business anymore. That's who made my mount. And it was way I overpaid for it, I'm pretty sure.
So why didn't you go with the Springfield accessories that they sell online? Do you not like their stuff or what?
At the time, I didn't have a lot of money, so I was just going for what I could afford.
Oh, okay. Got it. Got it.
So yeah, I know Springfield makes I think they got a Generation 4 or 5 out now, and that's at 3-point mount.
Right.
So if that's ever a road you go down, I strongly recommend.
Oh, I have to, bro. I'm getting older. You know, my eyesight ain't the same anymore. I got to be honest with myself.
Right.
Yeah. You know, and I know eventually I will have to go and get some glass, but that's good to know you got Vortex 412. I really like Vortex because one, the company is really pro military, so they actually do give military discounts. Not
Yeah.
sure if you knew that. And I also heard that their warranty is, you know, they don't give you any issues. You know, if you got something wrong with your glass, they usually replace it or repair it
You
for you.
could run that over with your tank and send it back, and they'll give you a new one.
There you go.
They won't replace the gun, but they'll give you a new scope.
Yeah, that's cool. Yes,
No, pro
actually,
carry. I never got to use an ACOG. I'm too old for that.
yeah. No, I did. I used it through 2 deployments and I loved it. I actually got one now for my rifle and I love it. One thing that I really enjoyed about the ACOG, one, it just didn't require any batteries. Um, of course, it wasn't that effective at night, but you know, I also had my I had a pack 4 laser that I could use with my night sights and wherever I pointed that thing because it was bore sighted. So wherever I pointed that laser is where it's going to hit. So I
Right.
was I was I had a lot of nice toys the army gave me, I must tell you. So yeah, no, I had my bases covered, but I do love the ACOG. The glass is really good glass. Never had any issues with it. You know, it was super accurate. It really was. And you know, I had a good friend of mine who's in Fifth Special Forces group. You know, good friend of mine. We actually became good friends. I actually got attached to a task force and that's how I met him. We just became really good buddies and kept in touch. And then just out of the blue, he's like, "Hey man, I sent you something in the mail." I was like, "Oh, what you sent me, bro?" And all of a sudden, it's a freaking ACOG. I was like, "Enjoy, bro."
Nice.
I was like, "Holy crap!" Yeah. So I don't want to know how you got it. I don't care. Hey, I got an ACOG, so it matters.
So anyway, I was telling you about the measurement on your cases,
Mm-hmm.
and here I've got a. This is the Israeli military case,
Mm-hmm.
IMI brass, and don't take it from me, but as far as buying boxed ammo, this is the best stuff that shoots the best in my rifle as far as boxes at IMI.
Mm-hmm.
They're 168 grain match.
Uh-huh.
Now at the base, you can see I'm measuring it right there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm showing a 0.467. Now, if I come back to some that I've resized,
Mm-hmm.
I'm down to 0.463. Now, to me, that is a lot of expansion, and maybe Jim or somebody in the side chat can chime in on that and tell me if that's normal or what we're looking at. And about the middle of the case, I'm about a 4.53. And on the fired case in the middle, 0.462. It's almost 9 thousandths.
Hmm.
And I've got to lube the hell out of these cases when I go to resize them because I
Mhm.
have stuck one.
Oh yeah.
So I was just curious if what yours were measuring at.
You know what? Unfortunately, I don't have them near me. I can go and get them for you if you want to give me a quick minute. I'll
Yeah,
get.
if you got a minute.
Yeah, and go get them for you.
So I guess my question is, and maybe anybody in the side chat can chime in on this, is, what is it? 9,000ths difference? Is that pretty excessive? Pro Trucker, never served. Pro Trucker, where can a guy run into you out there on the road? Pro Carry. I'm normally between Texas and the Northwest.
Okay, so let me make this better here. So let me
On your fired, let's just go right for the middle of the case.
Middle of the case?
Yeah.
What's that reading?
It's backwards to me, Pud.
Okay, my bad. All right, let's try this again. I am getting 0.470.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yours is bigger than mine.
Yeah. 0. Let me see. Let me try another one. Right in the middle, right?
Yep, right in the middle.
Okay, I'm getting 0.463 on that one.
Okay, that's exactly what I got on this one.
Yeah, same thing with this one. Maybe I was reading that one wrong. Yeah, so this is right in the middle, 0.463. Same thing with this one. Okay, yeah, 0 point. Yeah, 0.463. Yep, that's exactly what I'm getting.
So yeah, we're about the same, identical. Now my question is, have you ran any resized any of those since you fired them?
No, this will be the first time I'll be resizing them. So that might be something I'll be doing now. What are some of the issues that you found?
I just found it. I think it's a little over, and you gotta lube the heck out of them and really finesse them into that sizing die. Or if you get Western with it, you will stick one.
Okay.
See, now my resized ones here are down to about 0.455.
Oh wow, man, they compacted that much after you resize them. Wow. So what do you think is the issue with the M1A as far as is you're saying that the chamber is too loose?
I just think, for it to be an accurate rifle, I just think I'm getting too much. It's a military chamber. Okay.
Right.
And we discussed why it's a military chamber.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want tight tolerances out there in the field. I mean, you've been there, you've seen the dust kick up in the dirt.
Yep.
Your weapon's going to pick up shit, right?
Yep.
So the tighter tolerances you get, I mean, you're more susceptible to jamming. So there's a reason it's a loose, sloppy military chamber. And I've been toying around with the idea of actually rebarreling this with more of with a tighter tolerance chamber in it, see if I can get some more accuracy out of it.
Well, I think the person for that would definitely be Kenny, bro.
Yeah.
If anybody I would trust with a barrel, it would definitely be Kenny.
Well, like I say, and that's kind of why I wanted to bounce this idea, this off of somebody else shooting an M1A
Mm-hmm.
and see what your experiences are when you go to resize that brass. You know,
Mm-hmm.
how tight, how tough it is, or does it go smooth for you? I've resized a
Right.
lot of brass, but resizing anything after I shoot it out of this M1A, you've literally got to finesse it in there not to stick one.
What type of lubricant are you using?
The first one I stuck one was one shot, so therefore we will never use one shot again.
Okay.
The next time I stuck one was using an RCBS uh, case pad.
Okay.
And since then, I've went to the sizing wax, and I just make sure I got good coverage on the case.
Yeah, I
And
don't know. I've been using Unique, man. That thing is it's a beautiful thing. I've never
that
had no issues.
the Hornady Unique,
Yeah, I love that thing, man. Thing is great. I know a lot
yeah.
of
And
people
I
also.
believe I've used it. I've still got some, but I don't think I had the best results with that.
Oh
So
yeah,
since I went to this, there it is. This
the Imperial
Imperial
sizing.
sizing wax. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it's upside
Yeah.
down. Whatever. Still
Yeah.
upside down.
No, it's still good.
Okay, that's helped, but still, you can tell when you're going into that resizing die, it's a tight fit.
Interesting. I had no idea. Well, that's good to know. So when I
Well,
do have to
yeah.
resize it.
So when you run those up, just see what you think on it and get back with me.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I definitely will, man. So Uncle Jim says Unique or Imperial. Yeah,
Right.
I don't know. Unique is pretty good. One thing I like about the waxes is that, I mean, I don't even use a pad. I just use my fingers, and I noticed
Right.
that for some reason, I just put a little bit, and a little bit goes a long way with that Unique. I mean, I can see that thing lasting me for years, man. Because if you use it properly, it's definitely gonna last you a long time.
I
Same
just
thing with the
literally take
Imperial.
and scrape just barely dab my finger on it and then
Yeah, that's all you
massage
do.
the case and
Yeah,
run it in.
yeah. I know a lot of people also are into the whole lanolin and alcohol-based type of lubricants, and I mean, to each their own. I noticed that to me, for some reason, when I use the Unique, works perfect. So I've kind of started gotten away from all the other types of lubricants because, to me, if you really think about it, those types of lubricants are old school, man. So you got to stick with what works.
Hmm.
And I'm sure that's just the way a lot of people used to.
And I think I've got put near one of everything at one time or another. But I can tell you the only thing I'm going to ever use this for is target practice someday.
Yeah, it hasn't worked for you. Huh?
No, I
The
don't know.
only thing, the only
Maybe I'm not holding my face right. Is that it?
what I do when I use one shot is I put it in a Ziploc bag and I spray it in there, and then I mix all the casings in there. But the only time I really use one shot is for 9 millimeter, and that's when I'm trying to take the bulge off of the casings. That's the only
Right.
time I use it. Um, you
So you're
know,
talking about this unique.
yeah, I love Unique. For me, it works great, man. I love this thing. It's just a little dab on your finger, man. That's all you need. But I've heard so many good things on Imperial, so I would just say stick with what you got. I think Imperial is definitely the way to go.
Well, you know, when I order stuff, I never do it in moderation. So I
Oh,
usually
so
end up
you
with
buy
a
a
bunch of.
bunch of stuff.
So when I first started ordering, this Imperial, I got
Hmm.
like 6 cans of it, and I'm beginning to wonder if I'm ever going to use it all. Because
Yeah,
I'm
no,
on my. This is my first can, and that's is
right.
you can still see.
Yeah, I mean, you're not
Oh,
even
it goes a
halfway.
long ways.
Yeah, you're not even halfway on that thing. Well, how long ago did you purchase it?
I've had that for about a year.
Yeah, it's gonna go another year or two before you even
Either
use
that,
it.
or you can say I don't reload very often. But
No, you reload enough, man, because I mean, you stop and think about it. You're not always home, bro.
no, to my own fault, when I am home, I don't, get to spend as much time. Probably Pam will side with me on that with her as I got my head up some gun barrel somewhere. But hey,
And
she knew that when she hooked up with me.
well, I mean, you stop and think about it, man. When I notice a lot of people, there's two types of veterans. The ones that, guns will always be part of their life after they join the military, and two, that those that don't want nothing to do with them.
You're right.
You know, I noticed that it's something that I've seen with some of the guys. Some of the guys are like, "Nah, man, I'm cool. I have my time with my triggers and with my rifle. Like, I'm good. I don't want nothing to do with that." But to me, honestly, it's kind of like coming home, if you want to put it that way. I mean, when I get in front of a rifle and or a pistol or anything that goes boom, man, it just, to me, it's makes me feel happy. I don't know how to really put it.
Well, for me, when you know, before I joined them, when I was already a gun fanatic because I
Right.
grew up hunting and being basically a terror to every small furry animal within a 10-mile radius of my house.
Mm-hmm.
So then when I got in the military, it's like I didn't get to shoot enough, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
but then when they did let you shoot, it was a rifle I didn't want nothing to do with because it was such a piece of crap. And but then, boy, that's something you never want to tell your marksmanship instructor too. They kind of get bent out of shape when you tell them that.
Oh yeah, because they take pride in whatever they do, man. So
Yeah,
it's like it's a big deal. I mean, honestly, I think I love pretty much. I shot a lot of different types of platforms. Uh, you know, machine guns, rifles, shotguns, all that stuff. I honestly think, to me, my favorite all-time weapon, man, if I could have one, I would definitely shoot it a lot. Would be a Ma Deuce, baby.
you
You
like
give me
that
a
mod
Ma
use,
Deuce,
huh?
man. I love that thing, bro. Talk
Man,
about a
that's gonna be a
50
little
cal.
that's gonna be a little overkill on the ground squirrels, but it's gonna be fun.
I don't give a shit. It's fun, bro. It's just, I'm telling you, man. You should maybe because I was a 50 cal gunner for so long, and then afterwards, when I was in tanks, we had the 50 cal, and when you're the tank commander, you get your own gun, so you're happy as hell. Oh wow, I
Yeah,
love
something
those
like that.
things. Yeah, yeah, those are nice, bro. Those I used to call it the AT&T gun. Reach out and touch someone with that
Reach
shit.
out and touch someone.
Freaking AT&T gun, baby. Like, I love that thing.
Yeah, I made a huge mistake in boot camp. First off, you should never give your opinion on anything in boot camp, right?
No, nope. You need to shut the hell up and just listen to what they tell you, and that's it.
Yeah, it was, rifle range, which is like this second or third week, and I was struggling with the A2 because it was not, anything I was used to doing. Of course, the Marine Corps is trying to put you in their shooting forms and stuff. And it's like, well, that's not what
Yeah,
I'm used to. And I had to
right.
pipe up. Of course, drill instructor was pretty hard on me. He's like, God, I thought you were a
They
hunter.
all are, bro. I'll be honest with you.
I thought you were a hunter. I thought you knew how to shoot. And I said, well, sure, this rifle's a piece of shit. Bad idea.
Oh, you had you doing rifle drills with that shit, or what?
Oh, I went up to the pit and I stayed there for several hours with my rifle up
There
and
you go.
down and I came back filthy. The rifle came back filthy. And, then I get the old speech. It may be a piece of shit, but that rifle's going to save your life. It's going to save your buddy's life. It's going to save,
But it's so true, bro. It really is.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
good.
he was right, but then, I got, well, if you give me a better rifle, I could probably be better at saving my life and other people's lives. But then, that's what the Marine Corps issues, and that's the best thing ever. And
But I mean, one thing I do love about the Marine Corps is that every Marine's a rifleman. That's something that
Yeah.
I wish the Army would. I mean, now it's doing it, but back in the day, I wish it would have kept that mentality, man. Because you really think about it, the only people that really know how to shoot a gun or shoot a rifle is the guys in combat arms. Pretty much your combat engineers, your tankers, your MPs, your infantrymen, your Cap Scouts. Those are the guys that knew how to shoot. But everybody else, the cooks and stuff like that, and
Yeah,
that's the reason.
they took it one step further, and it was after I'd cycled through that after boot camp, every Marine went to an infantry school.
Yeah.
It did not matter if you were a admin clerk or wrench turner or cook or what. Everybody went first MOS was an 0300.
Yeah.
And Chris 338, I know he was a Marine. I'm just curious if he had to go through that.
Yep. Yeah, no, and it's great, man. I really enjoy that. I wish that's something that was that now they're doing it, but I mean, I think it's kind of too little, too late. But I mean, it's something that should have been implemented years ago. And it's yeah,
I think
razors,
that I'm gonna be a little bit harder on that. I think Navy and Air Force ought to do it too.
right. And I totally agree with you. I noticed that the Air Force, because I asked my niece not too long ago, and I have my son-in-law who's in the Air Force, and I told him, so when's the last time you guys shot a rifle? Like, and this is God honest truth. This is what he told me. Yeah, we took him out to the range one day, and they made us shoot 30 rounds, and then we were done. Like, what the hell is that? Are you serious? He's like, yeah. I was like, 30 rounds? I'm like, dude, no. How can you be proficient with that, man? So what happens if somebody raids your airfield? What the hell are you going to shoot you? What are you going to defend yourself with,
That's what the Army and Marine Corps is for.
Yeah, man, bro. But, there's not enough of us.
That's true.
I mean, what are we going to do? Play babysitters too? I'm like, that's not our job, bro. Our job is to win wars, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Chris, did you go through that MCT?
Yeah, back in '92, he says. So yeah, so good stuff, man. Yeah, it's interesting. I've always liked that about the ground pounding units. We always have a tendency of being very similar in our thinking and how we do things. So it's always
Well, I'm the
refreshing.
first one to tell you I was not a ground pounder.
Well, no, but
I got to witness
you're an
most of
engineer,
it from
bro.
the air.
You're a combat engineer. You're still getting your ass fucking handed to you. You're making fortifications and all kinds of shit.
Build it and tear it down.
Yeah. No, man. I seen you guys with dead core. You guys are scary as shit, man. I'm telling you.
Hey, I was scared with det cord. I mean, I'm not the guy to be left and handle explosives.
Combat engineers, dude. The Army combat engineers are freaking they're crazy as hell, bro. They got like C4 and they're like chuckling at each other. I'm like, fuck you doing, man? It's fucking C4. Like, nah, man, you need a fucking
fuse.
It's it's super stable. You can shoot it. Believe it or not, you can shoot it, run it over. All right.
Eagles up by 10, bro. Who are the Eagles playing anyways?
Denver.
Oh, hey, yeah. Go
See,
Eagles.
If Eagles beat Denver, I'm never going to hear the end of it because my Cowboys got their clocks cleaned by Denver last week.
I know. That was scary, bro. At home too. I was watching that game. I was like, did somebody tell the Cowboys they got a game today? I'm like, what the fuck, man? Y'all didn't come to play. What the fuck happened?
That was awful.
That was horrible, bro. I was like, man. I was rooting for you guys because I'm a Raider fan. So I'm like, yeah, anybody that's in my division, yeah, lose fuckers. So my team wins.
Did you hear John Gruden is suing the NFL?
bro, he got set up, man.
Oh, that's just
you know damn well he got set up.
BS.
It
It's
but
on Mario's channel.
But I don't have Mario.
Well, then get Mario. I'm being interrupted here.
hello Pam.
Hi.
You okay?
No, I don't feel good.
Oh, I hope you feel better.
Thank you.
Drink water. Make sure you're drinking water.
Shut up.
I made breakfast and she didn't finish it, so
What kind of breakfast did you make her? The freaking hungry man dinner or what the hell you do?
no, man. I made bacon and eggs and toasted the English muffin myself.
Oh, go ahead with your bad self. Man.
What's the name of his channel? Because I don't
Mario Mosin,
spell the last name.
Mosin.
Okay.
Will you just take your sick ass back to bed?
It's not contagious.
Yeah, well, if I get, we just talking about being sick out on the road. If I get between here and Texas and I get sick.
It's not contagious.
All right. You're interrupting. Yeah, likewise.
A lot of love in that room. I can feel it.
There really is. We don't act.
So let me ask you this: did you ever get to shoot a M1 Garand or maybe a M14 or anything like that?
Yeah, I got to shoot the M14 actually quite a bit.
Oh, okay.
There's a few things that I got to take part in that I got to handle quite a few different weapons.
That's pretty cool.
So I kind of got tossed around a little bit. So I got to do some things, and some things I'll tell you off camera.
That's cool. Now, which the two of the unknown, what do they carry? An M14 or is it an M1 Garand?
Hey, that's you Army guys. That they
I'm not
carry.
Sure. I think they got a Garand. I don't think it's an M14.
I think it's a Grand myself. I can't ever remember seeing a magazine on that.
Yeah. But I wouldn't want to test those guys either, man. Because
no, you've seen videos where they'll actually stop what they're doing and
don't piss
give
off
the gallery hell for it.
Not only that, but you have to be like, it's kind of like when you go to the Army Rangers. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like the top 1% of the fucking infantry and becomes Army Rangers. It's kind of like that. I think it's even more elite as a sentinel of the Tomb of the Unknown, because there's very few people that get picked for that type of job, and it's kind of like one of those really rare kind of things that you can put on your uniform. I've only met one person that's a sentinel. So it's very hard to get in that type of club, man. So I just love the rifle, man, and all the history that it has with it,
Yeah. I would really like to get my hands on a Grand someday.
Oh, yeah, actually I'm thinking about getting one, because you and I can get one through the CMP.
Right.
So,
and I haven't looked to see where their pricing was at. I think the last time I looked, I think you can get a rack grade, which is basically just a functional rifle for about $600.
Yeah, that's about right. But honestly, I would rather want one like that, because most likely that thing either went, I mean, the history that it has with it, bro.
Right.
Not only that, but then you got a lot of these are actually coming back from the Philippines, because a bunch of these are all Philippine M1 Garands, and they are nice. So a lot of I have two of my friends that got them, and they said they love them.
Really?
Yep.
I know. I think me and Jamie talked about it once. He's not that far from where that CMP course is down there in Alabama.
Yeah.
And it's just one of these times I ever get down there playing around with some spare time. I would really like to go in there and actually pull
Just
one
hang
from.
out. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they actually have some that are actually Marine Corps rifles in there.
Oh, really?
Yes. That's what I'm telling you. Like I think they don't do it through the ordering site. You can request it, but they don't really they give you whatever they got. But I know that if you go to their actual store, you actually get one that says USMC on the rifle.
Of course, my unicorn in that would be actually to get one of the international harvester ones.
Wow, those are really
You know,
cool. Yeah.
actually made by the tractor company,
Yes, I
just
remember that.
because. Just
Uh they were telling me that the Rockola company used to make I don't know if it's M14s or M1 Garands. Rockola, the people that made the jukeboxes,
right.
Rockola. Yeah, I had no idea they
Didn't
made.
Singer sewing machines made 1911 pistols, didn't they?
I believe so. Yeah, we even had what's the other company that used to make I think even General Electric used to make uh guns. I know they still make engines for the military. And oh no, they do. Actually the A10 freaking gun is actually a General Electric.
Oh, the
The Vulcan
that
gun?
40 millimeter.
Yeah, that freaking Vulcan gun is made by General Electric. I was like,
I
wow.
believe it. I believe it.
Yeah. So actually, dude, that freaking gun takes half a three quarters of the freaking plane, man. That's ridiculous how big that thing is.
Yeah, it's all fun and games until the sky starts farting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
IBM.
and you can't explain to anybody unless they've heard that sound
Mhm.
themselves. And you can find videos of it, but it doesn't do the justice.
Yeah. No, well, actually, yeah, I actually got supported by A10s, and it's a sight to see, and then for you to hear when I mean you can hear the impact of that round when it hits the ground, bro.
Hmm.
Eh, I'm like, oh, thank God that's not me. Like, I feel and like I don't feel bad for these bastards no more. Just kill them. I don't give a damn.
I'm glad those guys are on our team.
Oh, thank God, bro. And what's great about the A10 is that the A10, like I remember there's two missions where we had A10s, and those guys were on the skies for like 30 to 40 minutes. That's a lifetime, bro, when you're going through a
Yeah.
mission and you're trying to get stuff done. I mean, just knowing that they're out up there with you and it was amazing. Um, and yeah, I really enjoy them. To us, technically, we don't consider them like they're part of the Air Force. We kind of consider them like they're ground pounders with us, because the way they think
Right.
and they shoot that freaking gun and the way they attack it, they're like not scared at all, man. They're coming at you.
And like I say, the Marines, we really didn't get supported by those because we have our own.
Yeah,
It's so our own ground support is usually
right.
supplied by our own
And that's
aircraft.
and that's actually real cool, man. Because the Cobras are really cool, freaking helicopters, man. Like I tell you, when I got relieved by the Mew, we had 6 Cobras in our fob, and it was great. I was like, man, we got air support. Like this is cool. And yeah, and I remember those Cobra pilots, man. They don't mess around, bro. They get stuff done.
Ooh.
Yeah, they are
And that
very
Cobra has
very
been in
efficient.
service for a long time.
Yeah, I think since the 60s. I think that thing is as old
Yeah.
as the freaking CH-47 and the 46. They've been
Oh,
around
the,
forever.
the flying coffin. I hated those things. I actually
The
had to do some,
46s?
46s.
Mm.
And the thing gets in flight when the crew chief has to go around with the ball peen hammer to tighten up all the rivets.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Wow, that's pretty bad, bro. No, the 47s were pretty nice. I mean, I know the Army has a thing. They have this program where they refurbish them every 10 years or so. So
Right.
so yeah, the helicopter's not that bad. But I don't like it because it has this big ass freaking gas thing in the middle and it freaking stinks, bro. It smells like freaking jet fuel in there.
and the hydraulic fluid dripping on you over your head the whole time. Yeah, they just, like I say, we only had the 46s, which is, the tripods. You guys had the 47s, and you
Yeah, the
get land on 4
47s.
wheels.
Yeah, the 47s we still use them, but like I tell you, what we do is we
Yeah, Fort
refurbish them.
Riley. What unit is it that's out there at Fort Riley, Kansas?
Big Red One, which is First Infantry Division.
I see they just have squadrons and squadrons and 47s out there.
Yeah, it's an infantry division, so a lot of the infantry divisions have their air assets. That's how they bring them in. They bring them in through helicopters.
Right.
So, um,
And
yeah,
then
and
47s will haul the load. I
oh
mean,
yeah,
they're
they
capable.
they can haul a bunch of soldiers in the back, and on top of that, they'll still carry like a freaking 777 howitzer with them.
Yeah,
It's a
you
beast.
can sling. I can tell you the weight, but they can sling a lot. I just probably shouldn't tell
Yeah,
you what
no,
the
they
weight
they
is.
do sling a lot. I've seen it. Trust me, I've seen it. They are amazing freaking helicopters. They I don't know. The army doesn't want to get rid of them, and I don't want them to get rid of them either because it's our workhorse.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just kind of glad that the Marine Corps got the Osprey. I think that's a much better platform for what you guys needed.
Well, for deploying, that rapid,
The Mew.
yeah, off of those. They're not a carrier; they're an LST or whatever, LHA or whatever the hell they are.
Mm-hmm.
They're an over the horizon, helicopter. You can go almost 250 miles.
Yeah,
Almost.
yeah, they do.
They
They
didn't have
do.
they didn't have much luck with them in the beginning. They couldn't keep them in the
No,
sky.
no, they were. They kept. They kept crashing. And it was kind of scary because actually we were near one of the crash sites where we had one of them crashed, and it was pretty freaking scary, man, because that thing was loud as hell. I was like, what the hell
Mhm.
is this shit? But no, it was it was once they got the things taken care of, man, now it works really well. And it's not just the Marine Corps that uses it, the Air Force has them as well.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, the Air Force has their own set of ospreys that they use, mostly for their special forces units. They do use them a lot. So it makes sense. I really like those types. I just don't think that would work for the army because that's a lot of freaking ospreys they need to buy to to kind of match what this 47 does for us. So I think it's the reason why the army just continues to buy the 47 and rebuild it because it makes more sense. It's already
Well, and that you got to understand that the difference between the roles of the Army and the Marines.
yeah.
That in the Army is that basically that when you're deploying the Army, you're deploying an army.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yep.
know, Marines. Other than for establishing beachheads and stuff, is basically more of a smaller unit. Have all of its assets,
It's a smaller unit
in house.
that doesn't need congressional act of Congress
Yeah,
to deploy
I've
them.
always threw it as you got a group of guys that you throw at a problem.
Yep. Yeah, you don't. The president does not need the Congress to throw the Marines at you. That's why, in reality, that's the reason why the Marines carry the president in Marine One, because
Hmm.
technically that's his go-to branch. Like if something goes wrong, he can send the Marines without having to get Congress involved. Now, if you get the army in there, you fucked up so bad that you got the Democrats and the Republicans to agree. And
Exactly.
when we show up, we show up. We don't fuck around. So yeah.
Yeah, Marines. They say that we're kind of, that's our deal, is get deployed, like on a smaller force with all of our own assets. We don't have to rely on anybody else. That's why the Marine Corps basically has its own air wing.
Yep. Exactly. You have your own planes, you have
Yep.
your own squadrons, everything.
We get our own ground support.
Yep.
I heard, and maybe Mario, you can back this up, that the Marines were going to give up their tanks.
They already did, bro.
They did.
Yep.
But I thought that what they were getting in trade for that is they wanted to take over the gunships, the C-130 gunships.
I don't know if the Air Force would want to give those up, bro. I don't think that's that.
Well, to me, that's you know,
I don't think the Air Force would want to give those.
The only thing the Air Force has got going for them and makes them super badass. Other than that, the A-10.
With that and the PJs and the combat controller, that's about the only cool thing about the Air Force. I don't think they'll give them up, bro, because
they may not give them up, but I think that there was, because already the Marine Corps has its own C-130s.
Yes, and you got Big Bertha too. So if you guys don't know who Big Bertha is the C-130 that goes with the Blue Angels, and it's also one that has one of the most experienced pilots, and they're all Marines, and they're the ones that do all kinds of crazy stuff up in the air with a C-130. Believe me, you have no idea how versatile a C-130 is. It's pretty badass.
That thing can get in places and get out of places that some Piper
it doesn't need much of a runway to get up in the air. It's an amazing plane, man.
So I think that's what the Marine Corps was kind of bargaining for, is that they would get their own gunships to support their own.
I mean, it makes sense.
It makes sense. It makes total sense, because to me, I thought the tanks were, for the Marine Corps to have tanks that's really not our can of worms.
No, that's pretty much the Army's can of worms. I don't even know how the hell you guys made those things freaking not sink.
I don't know,
dude. I mean, I used to be a tanker. It's 68 tons of freaking steel.
Well, they have to come to shore on an LCAC. I mean,
yeah, but still, dude. You still. I mean, it's crazy. I mean,
I think by getting rid of the tanks, I think that just saved the Navy and the Marines a lot of money, because the money that it took to support those LCACs were just never was a fan of the LCAC.
Well, yeah, it also has its issues. I just think the Marine Corps just needs to be smart about what they get, because they need to get stuff that's lighter, that's more maneuverable, and it's more cost effective. And getting rid of the tanks it was kind of a sad day for a lot of us who are Army tankers, because we had this rivalry with the Marine Corps tankers, because I mean, technically the Marine tankers had to go to Fort Knox and train with us, and you do not want to put Marine tankers with Army tankers. They'll beat the shit out of each other. They will. I've seen that shit. Dude, trust me, you do not want to put us together. Fuck no, we're like water and vinegar, bro. We'll beat the shit out of each other. But it was fun. It was a good rivalry. It was really good. I mean, it was really sad for it to go. But I also think that the Marine Corps is also, they're gonna improve the Lab 25. They're actually making a new vehicle for you guys, because they saw that we use a Striker, and they saw the improvements that we did basically on you guys' platform. And I think the Marine Corps is actually getting new LAVs, and I think that was the reason why they wanted to save us money. They also were able to get better equipment, which is something they haven't had forever in the Marine Corps.
Those old Amtraks that they're still playing with, it's the same one they've had for 40 years now.
And that's another platform that they're looking at improving, because if you recall, I think a year and a half ago, we had an incident where the LCAT freaking, sank and killed like 14 Marines or something like that. So yeah, we got to have safe equipment for our guys out there. It just has to happen. we can't be, one of the most technological best forces in the world and have our guys, sank in the bottom of the ocean because our equipment is old and it's dying. It's just, it doesn't make
And
sense to me.
that was the first thing that I thought of when I heard about that story. When that story broke about, they sunk the Amtrak.
Yeah,
But
actually, it
Jesus,
didn't surprise me because I'm
the
thinking
thing
that
is
thing is
50,
old as
40
shit.
years old.
Yeah, that thing
I
is
mean, it's
old,
old.
bro. And yeah, those things are old as hell. And yeah, they are not the greatest. And I know as much as much maintenance as they do on those things, there's only so much you can do when you have a 40-year-old piece of equipment.
Well, when the design is okay, but you can't run them forever.
No, you can't, unless you're improving them. Because what the Army does with their tanks is they refurbish them, just like we do with the 47. We do the same thing with the tanks.
Right.
So the tanks go back to Lima, Ohio, and they have a plant over there, General Dynamics, and they pretty much take that whole tank and they restrip it, put all new parts in it, and all new bolts and everything on there. And yeah, that's what they do. That's how they're
Have
able to
you
keep that tank going for so many years.
have you been out by Barstow lately at the where that?
Fort Irwin?
No, not Fort Irwin. Oh my God.
It's like
I've
29
been to
pounds,
Fort
bro.
Irwin. I've been to Fort Irwin, and I just why?
Hey, dude, hey, I say the same thing about 29 pounds, bro. I mean, like, why?
Just why is right. No, that the Marine Corps liaison base out there in Barstow.
Yeah.
Last time I was by there was probably about 4 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
There must have been 300 tanks sitting out there ready to go on rail cars.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I just was curious. All right, Marine Corps got rid of their tanks. Where are they going?
No, those are probably Army tanks because they're going to Fort Irwin. Because what happens is that all of those tanks get rail carted. Because what
Right.
happens they got units that are coming all over from Kansas and Washington and all that. When they do a what they call an NTC rotation, National Training Center rotation, they bring all their equipment. They don't borrow anything from anybody. They
Really?
bring all their crap. So that's why you see a lot of rail cars with military equipment. It's equipment going in and out so they can train with their own equipment. The Army looks at it as that if we give you equipment, you better use that motherfucker. So we'll pay the transportation costs, but you will use it in the National Training Center because that's the whole point of you having this damn thing. And I mean, I'm talking about the Army's.
So I guess the Army uses that liaison base there in Barstow
They
to
do.
offload
Yes,
that stuff.
they do.
Okay.
Yep. Because our guys got actually what is the name of that freaking place? I forgot the name of it. It's a little Marine Corps depot that's right there. I forgot the name of
Yeah,
it.
it's the Marine Corps liaison base in Barstow, Irmo.
And Yermo, yes, Yermo
Yeah,
Yard. Yes, exactly. So yeah, they use a Yermo Yard to transport all of our stuff, but
nice.
The Marine Corps also uses that because they transport their own stuff from there too. Because
Yeah,
remember,
last time I was there was literally 250 to 300 tanks.
yeah, that's one brigade right there, pretty much.
That many tanks in one brigade?
Yeah. If it's an armor brigade, it is.
So what do? They just go out and kind of shoot the shit out of Fort Irwin for a while?
Well, yeah, but in the National Training Center, they have these guys called Op 4, which is the
Mm-hmm.
opposition force. So we have a cavalry regiment that all they do is play bad guy. And they go and do force on force against these guys. And they use MAL systems, and they just fucking fight each other for like a month straight. It's crazy, man. When you do NTC rotation, that's as close as you're gonna get to war if you've never been to war, because you get sleep deprivation, you get all that shit, and then on top of that, you have all these guys that are called OCs, which is observer controllers. I got a chance to do that. It was really cool. And you're basically an advisor to their commander, and you basically are telling them what they're doing right or wrong, or whatever the case may be, and how can they improve their tactics and stuff like that. It's really really cool. I mean, if you ever get a chance to go on YouTube, there's plenty of videos on there. And if you want to do what just rotation at the National Training Center, and it's really cool, man. We have like makeshift towns, that are depict a town in Iraq or in Afghanistan or whatever the case may be, and we put our guys in there, and you have cars that blow up in the air. They have all these things like freaking Hollywood. You have all kinds of explosions and all kinds of shit. They try to make it as realistic as possible. It's pretty cool.
I have been out to Fort Irwin a couple of times, and oddly enough, the only reason we went out there was to draw ammunition.
You went all the way to Fort Irwin to go ammunition, bro?
Yep.
From where? From Camp Pendleton?
Camp Pendleton. We had to go clear out to Fort Irwin with a couple of 5 tons and pick up ammunition. And it's pretty cool, you basically got a mountain all hollowed out there with all that shit inside of it.
Yeah, we got plenty of those though. You probably saw one.
Well, and that was my thoughts. What a great place to hollow out a mountain. Nobody cares.
Yeah, we got plenty of those, bro. I remember, and now to this day, I start thinking about it, man. Like, dude, I used to have ammo for days, bro. I used to carry so much freaking ammo when I was on patrol. It was ridiculous. I remember
Pam just chimed in and said that's where her daughter is going, Caitlin.
Where to?
Her daughter's in
the Army?
Yeah, she's in the Army, but it's the North Carolina.
Fort Benning?
No, she's in the Army, but she's with National Guard.
Okay, she's in the North Carolina National Guard. Okay,
right.
That's cool.
But she's one of the full-time people.
Yeah, that's good. It's awesome. That is awesome, bro. Okay, man. I think we're getting closer to the end here. Is there anything else you want to add on the M1A before we?
No, I'm just kind of excited to see how you go along with it, and anxious to see what you're reloading.
Yeah, it's definitely right now. My first reloads I did were Hornady 155, and I really enjoyed that. I thought it was a pretty good round. I got did about 43 grains of barget and ran pretty well.
You got a lot of room to move up on that.
Yeah, that's what they were telling me, man. But I was kind of like I was kind of being conservative because I'm not really sure. I know that Pat had told me like, hey man, basically you can go all the way up to the brim and it'll shoot. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, that's scary.
You can with barget, it doesn't hurt to crunch.
Yeah, that's exactly what Pat was telling me. I was like, wow, that's crazy.
You can fill the case up and swipe it off and then smash your bullet in there. It'll run.
That's
I mainly shoot the 168 grain Sierra Match Kings.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got a fuck ton of this shit. So if you need some, let me know.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I'll hit you up on that one. Make
it happen. And the best load I found on this so far is right about 44 grains.
44 grains. What on is that the casing that you were shooting? Is that kind of as thick as a Lake City type of brass?
I would argue that it is the same as Lake City, because I just about bet you that the Israelis are buying it from Lake City.
They probably are.
But I can also tell you the bullets that they're shooting are exactly Sierra Match King bullets.
Oh,
and if that's something that wants to, that will piss you off, is our military makes ammo based on the lowest bidder. them Israelis, whenever they're fighting, they're really fighting for their lives. They're not afraid
to spend the money
to give their people the best.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but also you got to stop and think about it. It's a smaller force, and it's
Right.
I mean, when you start thinking about, what's the cost for a 1.7 million army and 300,000 Marines, that's a lot of money.
Right.
You got to stop and think about it. I don't think that I think at most probably the Israelis might have maybe 300,000 people, if that, as far as in their military goes.
I couldn't speak to how big it is.
I'm just thinking because I think Israel's population is like one or two, about 3 million people, if that, and
Right.
only like usually 30% of the population is actually in the IDF when they actually are fighting. Because I've got a chance to actually train with the Israelis, and they were telling me, I mean, everybody has to serve, but
Mhm.
I think to a certain point, I think the minimum is 2 years, and after that they can get out. But some guys are actually, because they're really good at what they do, they end up being ball and told you're going to stay another 3 or 4, and that's about it.
Right.
But I do like the Israelis. The Israelis are very aggressive, though. They are very aggressive in the way they think. But then you got to stop and think about what they've been through and who they have as their neighbor.
Well, you can't blame them because literally everybody around them wants to eradicate them from the face of the earth.
Exactly.
You can't blame them for 1 minute.
Yeah, and the other group that I found to be very much the same is the Polish. I got to train with the Polish,
Really.
and one time I asked these guys, and I told them, "Hey, why are you guys so aggressive?" And their answer was very simple. Yeah, what happened in World War II would never happen again. I was like, cool,
Right.
down with that shit. All right, bro. I like what you're thinking. I like what you're cooking. Yeah, but IDF is very cool.
And I've got a bunch of that Israeli ammo. I'll probably next time I know I'm in California, I've got to. Yeah, that's something to talk about another day. We'll hook you up.
Sounds good, brother. I appreciate it, man. But it was great having you on the chat, man. I usually don't do these live chats, but well, Mr. Idaho Rogers says, "Hey, let's do a chat about M1s." I'm like, you know what? I'm down.
Yeah.
So,
Well, didn't
so we
necessarily have to be
definitely
done
have to make
M1. Just
that happen. So
we chewed the fat in other platforms, but it's always too much going on. We never really get to have a one-on-one conversation.
yeah, no, it's very true, brother. But yeah, man, it's always good to connect and get to know more about what we both done for our country. So, you know, one thing before I go, I do want to thank you and all the truckers out there for what you guys do. I think you guys' jobs is not always appreciated, but I know that you guys keep America moving, and especially with the current supply crisis, we are starting to people are really starting to see the importance of logistics and trucking and all that stuff. So, I know we got Pro Carry Trucker. Got a couple guys out there that are truckers. Thank you guys for what you guys do, because it's an invaluable asset that we have, and sometimes we take it for granted here in the United States.
No, I can appreciate that. I really do.
Yeah.
And
All right, guys.
unfortunately, since COVID, it's gotten more difficult. Which
Absolutely.
I'm getting out of this in less than a year. So,
Well, good for you. I mean, it's a long time, and
yeah, I'm going to become a professional bum.
nothing wrong with that, man. There is nothing wrong with that, brother.
Be a panhandler. I'm going to get me a stray dog, stand on the street corner. Maybe make people feel sorry for
me. Yeah, that's good, man. All right,
hey,
guys.
Mario.
All right, man.
Let's stay in touch, my friend. All right.
Yeah, we'll do, sir. All right, guys. Thank you guys all for joining us. I really appreciate it. Taking time from your Sunday to come and hang out with us. So thanks, guys. And we'll see you when we see you.